What sort of additional support do we need to start making shifts?
At the beginning of our journey, we could see that there were real disparities in outcomes for our learners across all areas. And so one of the first things that we did was to apologise to our families, to Ngāti Kahungunu, to acknowledge that as a kura and ultimately as myself coming into this position, that we were accountable and responsible for the outcomes in the school. Prior to that, there had been a range of deficit theorising, coming up with reasons for the failure, whether it was the students' whānau or school's fault.
Equity, equality are at the heart of everything that she does at the school. So there's lots of things that she does in the school. We could talk about, strategies that she used, but I think that's the most important, is that moral purpose.
The leaders across the school unpacked two rangatira, Kiwi leadership principles and BETH leadership. We did this initially through a celebration evening to bring in all of our whānau. Over 400 were in attendance. A staff member and student leader at each table interviewed our parents and whānau. We came up with a school motto together that's become our mantra, that student success is the only option.
So, how are we going in maths?
Yeah, it's quite good. Once I get the hang of it, it's quite easy.
For you, we should be aiming for merits and excellences. Okay.
The Flaxmere way is how we teach, how we learn. We've co-constructed it as a school, as teachers, and had some parent voice. So everything from the senior leadership, our staff meetings, they model it in how our classroom should be.
Staff meetings at the beginning of our journey, they were more administrative, so we changed all of that and aligned all of the meetings to professional learning.
The areas that were quite low were discursive activities and also cooperative learning.
All our leaders across the school would participate in all the professional learning. So as leaders, we would be observed, but we would also be coaches and participate in the PD team.
Whilst we've got a framework which we've co-constructed and which does involve leadership, it also involves teacher agency, where teachers are involved in the planning of the learning and improvement of these students. It gives them the agency to make a change in the class. It helps teacher leadership.
So that's been a massive shift.
Our staff, it's evident that they like that support and it has that effect.
Leadership with LOUISE isn't just about how the staff is. I suppose it's about how she's led the school through some hard times here, and there has been some hard times. It hasn't been easy with students passing.
We experienced suicide contagion across the community, and as a result, the Flaxmere Talk to Me community group was established.
That type of leadership doesn't always happen everywhere, so having Flaxmere College kind of be that principal champion for suicide prevention in Hawke's Bay has worked tremendously well.
She leads with a lot of mana. She's allowed agencies to come in, and actually we run a local response team from here so that we can implement how to look after themselves when they're feeling not wanting to be here, I suppose.
Really strong relationships with students. One of the leadership teams in the school, Kokiri Tau, work with a student focus group.
We look at the positive things that are happening in the school, and if things perhaps need some improvement, what our next steps would be.
The leadership gives the students opportunities like outward bound, spirit of adventure and other extracurricular activities.
Also, there are areas to improve, such as have younger students in executives.
Another leadership action was to implement the vocational pathways to ensure that the curriculum was meaningful and relevant for our students.
We're aligned with the Trades Academy at EIT. We also have the Primary Industries program.
We've also been able to establish a teen parent unit in Whakairo Academy. Morena whānau.
Morning.
Distributive leadership is quite important. That this is a job that can't be done just by her alone. It has to be done by a range of people. And we're not talking about delegation either. We're talking about people given meaningful roles throughout the school. It also helps agency for our teachers as well. They're involved in the process of change.
Cool. Write that down.